Good Thursday morning of the 29th week. This text today from Luke, it's still part of chapter 12. Boy, these are powerful sayings. This one really does need explanation, but I read it to you, okay? Jesus said to his disciples, I have come to set the earth on fire, and how I wish it were already blazing. There is a baptism with which I must be baptized. And how great is my anguish until it's accomplished. We know the baptism of Christ, what he's talking about is Good Friday, his passion. See? Do you think I have come to establish peace on earth? What happened to the Bible? Luke's birth, the birth accounts were peace is descending on the world, okay? See, there's something cooking here. Do you think that I've come to establish peace on the earth? Rather, no, I tell you, but rather division. From now on, a household of 5 will be divided, 3 against 2 and 2 against 3. A father will be divided against his son, a son against his father, a mother against her daughter, a daughter against her mother, a mother-in-law against her daughter-in-law, and a daughter-in-law against her mother-in-law. That, frankly, in the ancient world, it should be in any world, is unthinkable, what he just said. Christ, in this saying, in Luke's gospel, is fracturing the entire ethical system, the entire ethos, ethical system of the ancient world, both Hebraic world, the Greek world. The foundation of the moral order is in outward motions in concentric circles, beginning with the family. For Christ to reject that, or to say that it is this, that he has come to establish peace in that sense, he said, no, I'm not, but rather division. This is, in other words, he is going to demand, as it were, a violation of the most basic of all moralities, beginning with the family. See? Why would Luke write this? Is Christ really opposed to the family? And it's not. What he's describing here is the state of the early church, in which conversion meant division. Households were destroyed, as it were, when a member became a Christian. It still is in Orthodox Jewry, I think, that if you become a Christian, they say the prayers of the dead over you. In some form or other, this could still be true today, that a conversion to Christianity may cost you everything, including your life. How'd you like to become a convert in China or some other parts of the world where anti-Christian sentiment, law, and power prevail? The cost, this is what some writer, I think it was Bonhoeffer, called it the price or the cost of discipleship. This is where it costs. We could be asked to go beyond the most obvious of all good and true values. You can't find anything more fundamentally good than the wholeness of the family. And Christ said, even that can be and often is transcended because of the love of Christ. And believing in and loving Christ may cost you the most fundamental of all values. It's radical Christianity. For you and I, who grew up in our culture, in Western culture, we have been Christian for at least 1,400 to 1,600 years. And so it is not immediately costly. Christian families don't break up because they're Christian. Converts could easily, I think of, again, Orthodox Jews, I think for them, for the Orthodox, if someone were to convert into Catholicism or Christianity, would be devastating. Would be devastating. Yeah. You have to understand what Christ is getting at least I think what I understand him to be doing. And in the early church, they might have put these words into, the writers might have put the words into his mouth here in this sense. The cost of discipleship was astronomical. you could easily get martyred. And Luke is writing for Greek Christians, so the cost of discipleship there was radical alienation, even from the most fundamental elements in your life, your family. It's the cost of discipleship. And here our Lord, as quoted by St. Luke, is giving the most extreme examples of it. To actually cause the fractionization of one's home. Unthinkable. And yet could be what you are called to do by transcending even the family in pursuit of Christ, in following Christ, may cost you everything. It's certainly true of an Orthodox Jew even today. See? The price of discipleship. And in some cultures, it could cost you your livelihood. It could cost you your life. See, when you start with the crucifixion of Christ, then the cost of discipleship has almost no limits in the sense of the imitation of Christ may require a form of dying, a form of filling up those things, wanting in the suffering of Christ through what it costs us to be believers and followers. Right? I think we're coming to that here, even in America. While there are powerful revivalist movements going on, there is a sense in which Christianity is also being ridiculed. And it's a question, I don't know what to think. The kids that I teach, the young people that I teach, men and women that I teach, appear to be very faithfully Christian and very faithfully Catholic, or faithfully Muslim. I don't see too many Jewish kids at SLU, so I can't speak for that. But what I do see, especially are Christians, and they seem to be committed. But I also think it's part of the reason they come to SLU. They want to be in an environment that supports their beliefs as opposed to attacking them, ridiculing them. And I think maybe they're going to be the voices of Christianity, and they are going to be in the next generation, because for them to believe and remain faithful to their beliefs, it is not going to be comfortable all the time as it was for us growing up 60 years ago, 70 years ago. It is not, because so much around them is antithetical to Christianity and in some ways abusive of Christianity. Maybe all belief. So we're going to see, I think we live in an age very similar to Luke's, in the sense that to be a believer, one may have to be countercultural, may have to believe at a cost, and therefore chosen, recognizing the cost of belief. I see that because what I see happening is that Christianity, even by former Christians, former Catholics, begins to look foolish. And it's worse than looking antithetical. That is what I mean by that. I'd rather be seen as an enemy rather than as a fool. See? I think in a way Christianity looks foolish, Catholicism especially, foolish. See? Only fools believe, you see, as opposed to powerful but antithetical, meaning a powerful enemy. A powerful enemy is respected. A fool is not. A fool is ridiculed. And I think it's more dangerous to be ridiculed than it is to be feared, by far. Because it's difficult to be courageous and look like a fool, as opposed to be courageous and look like the enemy. I'd rather be seen as an enemy than as a fool. And I think our young people today are going to face that more and more in a culture that will ridicule our Christianity, our shared faith. I may be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. But I don't think I am. What I see in the kids that I teach at SLU, which I think is a reasonable sample, I see commitment. I don't see cultural Catholicism or cultural Christianity. I see belief. Well, maybe because I teach ethics and religion and stuff like that, but no, not really. I see kids are committed to their faith and committed to their values. Sometimes people ask me what the kids are like at SLU, the college kids. I am just moved by them. I am so in admiration of them. as the secular world it becomes much more prevalent in the American culture, you see these young people, believers, deeply committed believers. See? Just when you think it's, it's all bad, it isn't. In a way, this is a great time because now, if you're going to believe, you have to believe with force and commitment because you're not going to dance to the light fantastic. It's not going to be as easy, and there will be conflict. It could cost you your friends. I hope it would never cost you your family, but it's going to cost you to be a committed believer, not a superficial believer, a committed believer. I think in Luke's time, to be a Christian was costly. It could be in our times too. We're in the second great period of the evolution of Western civilization, I think. Yeah. Now the question is, will it be a Christian? Will it be a Judeo-Christian culture or a neo-pagan culture? Our young people are going to have to decide.